My friends, it's amazing out there. There's this energy out there. Now, some of you have seen one of my videos where I said, while I like libertarianism, many of its ideas, and I like it in theory, I'm not a libertarian because the bottom line is it's not very practical. It doesn't work because when you identify so much as an individual and you make everything about the individual, there's no power. As individuals, we really don't have much power. But now if you can organize as a group, you can do amazingly wonderful things. You can do absolutely incredible things if you just organize. And that's what's going on. Young, conservative, especially a lot of these guys, they're young, conservative, Christian guys, and we're in a different age. We're in the age of the internet where people can talk to each other. It's not like when I was a lot of these guys' ages, when I was young. All we had really was Fox News, and we had to just kind of believe whatever they were saying or accept or not accept what they were saying. So when they would get us to go along with so many things that were not in our best interest, they'd get us to try and support things that ultimately will lead to our destruction. But it's a different time. Guys can talk to each other. And you're seeing a lot of guys that have been very disgruntled because they've woken up and they've realized, well, wait a minute, what's in our best interest? Well, geez, the liberals, they're very openly against us. A lot of these guys, especially if you're white, if you're Christian, or you're a man, there's a war against all of those things. And think about this. We have a guy running for president of the United States, Joe Biden, who openly said that it's a good thing that white people are going to be a minority. And these guys are going, well, why would it be a good thing that there's less of us? How is that a better thing? Obviously, they're against them. So they have to look at the other side. And then they're starting to realize, wait a minute, what do these guys stand for? Well, especially if you're a Christian, they're starting to realize, well, geez, they've gone in a direction to the point of maybe where liberals were a few years ago. I was telling someone recently that's not an American, I was saying conservatives today, what passes as a conservative, is probably more liberal than a Democrat was in the 1980s. And all these ideas that are considered extremist ideas, these were mainstream not so long ago. And even if you look at into the early 2000s, Chuck Schumer, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, all these people, look at what they were saying about illegal immigration. Well, you have mainstream Republicans there. That's much more hardcore than what modern mainstream Republicans are saying. And that's going back within the last 20 years. Or the gay marriage thing for guys that are Christians out there. Even in 2008, both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, they opposed gay marriage openly. But just in a mere 4 years later, in Obama's second term, he was pushing for it and all for it. And now you're seeing Conservative Inc. try to become more progressive and more liberal, and they think that's the way. But of course, they're funded. They're not really representing these guys. And people are waking up. The Groypers are organizing, or the Knickers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. And I've talked a lot about Jordan Peterstein, about how he tells people that they should just move towards individualism because he doesn't want you grouping, because he knows there's strength in numbers. It's powerful if you guys organize. And are you guys going to let some goofy frog-voiced Canadian tell you guys what group you should be a part of or how you should identify yourself? No. And I love that you guys are pushing back, and I love that you guys are having fun doing this, seeing all the videos out there. And I loved seeing the videos of Charlie Kirk getting wrecked. You guys really handed it to him, and you have my respect, and I admire what you're doing, and it's key that you're having fun doing this. But with seeing you guys organize, and I love the way that you're going after targets, and you're picking out, hey, this guy's gonna be here. We're gonna all go to his event. And then after destroying Charlie Kirk, I saw that you guys were organizing to go after Steven Crowder, and I was very curious about this. I've talked a lot about Steven Crowder on this channel. I've criticized him a lot on this channel, and he's not a Ben Shapiro type or a Charlie Kirk type that's pure evil and pure funded by corporates and really just totally trying to subvert you and get you to work against your best interest. Crowder's not to that level of bad, and he does some good work, but over the years, of course, he's been much going towards that. And one of the criticisms I've had on this channel is, like, he won't acknowledge anyone that's further to the right than him. And here we're seeing people get deplatformed or suppressed. Who's he sticking up for? Tulsi Gabbard. How many times did he mention James Allsup? How many times has he mentioned any of these other people? He doesn't want to acknowledge them. Well, I tried to check out some of the clips from the Groypers attending his event, and I couldn't find very many clips. It's very new. But I'm going to play for you what I think is the best one, at least the best one I found. And this is what I've been waiting for someone to actually ask Crowder about. So this is Hawaiian Shirt Groper. Let's take a look at what he says.
Yes, Mr. Hawaiian Shirt. What's your name, sir?
Hi, Stephen. I'm John.
John. Okay, very nice. Thank you.
So, Mr. Crowder, it's a question about tech censorship.
About what?
About tech censorship.
About tech censorship?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
After being demonetized by YouTube, you have been very anti-tech censorship. Yet, when nationalists who are more conservative than you are unfairly censored, like Nick Fuentes being kicked off of PayPal and Politicon events, James Allsup being banned off YouTube and Twitter, and Vincent James being demonetized, you don't seem to have...
I love what this guy did. He just mentioned Vincent James. He mentioned James Allsup, who James Allsup had around 500,000 subscribers, and he didn't violate any YouTube rules. They kicked him off merely because they didn't like his opinion. But Crowder won't touch that with the 10-foot pole, so I love that this guy's asking him this directly.
Have the same anti-tech censorship vigor. If you oppose tech censorship, will you strongly advocate against the censorship of these individuals specifically? And would you consider having Nick Fuentes on your show to talk about where tech censorship is affecting conservatives online the most?
Well, listen, I appreciate the question. I'm not really familiar with Nick Fuentes, so I can't promise that I would have him on the show, and I have no idea.
I like that Crowder pretends like he doesn't know. He's going the safe route with this, of course. He's pleading ignorance. He claims, he constantly brags about having the #1 conservative channel on YouTube, but actual conservatives he will never have on his show, and here he pretends like he doesn't know who these people are. So let's see what else he has to say.
Why he was removed. I do know that when I see it with people where it's unfair, for example, whether it's Tulsi Gabbard or we saw it with Dave Rubin.
That's such an interesting deflection. Whether this guy brings up Vincent James, Nick Fuentes, James Allsup, and what does Crowder do? Well, I don't know who they are, but I'll talk about Tulsi Gabbard and Dave Rubin. He just goes off and he starts defending liberals again.
We've done everything we possibly can in our power to defend them. There's been no one at the front lines more than us. But there are also some people who get removed who have smaller channels that we don't necessarily even know about. So I can't answer the question because I'm not familiar with Nick Fuentes. I've had some people...
He doesn't know who any of these people are, despite being pretty big. And not that long ago, he was actually their size for channel-wise.
People ask me in the past if I will defend folks who've actually violated terms of service by doxing people. I have no idea if he's done that, and I assume that he probably hasn't. But anytime somebody is simply being targeted and silenced because of their opinion, regardless of how unpopular it may be, yeah, I don't think that people should be deplatformed. But I don't want to answer regarding someone who I'm not necessarily familiar with. But I appreciate your question. The spirit of it remains the same. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder.
Thank you.
Well, you see what Crowder did there. He very tactfully answered that to give a safe answer of, well, gee, I don't know who those guys are. But there's only a couple other videos so far out there I've seen of these guys asking him questions. And one thing, it was not so much in the way he answered this, but one thing that I've noticed is that he typically stalls before answering the question because he's trying to think of something good to say, or he's trying to brace himself for something coming. And in a lot of the videos, he speaks extremely fast, as he does in a lot of his regular YouTube views. But he's going 1,000,000 miles a minute, and a lot of people have made comments like, boy, he must have popped an extra Adderall for this one. And that's true. He does take these type of drugs, these prescription drugs. He's admitted that in interviews before. And maybe he sees it as a performance-enhancing drug for if you're going to speak or you need to come up with ideas. But another lesson to take away from this video, I believe all drugs, whether they're narcotics or prescription drugs, they all have negative side effects. There's major negative things. They may be helping you in the short term, but ultimately they're short-circuiting you. But I just thought that was an interesting observation. He didn't do it so much in this answer, but in the other clips I saw, he was really talking fast. And like I said, Crowder is not the worst guy out there. But here's the bottom line. If you want to make a living in politics, even not be just even being a politician, but a commentator like Crowder, well, it's only a matter of time before people start to realize and the person starts to go in a direction and they start to have critics, not only by the opposite side, but this is how we're seeing people that are supposed to be on their side, the people that are supposed to be part of their base. And now Crowder, I've once heard him say that he started his show because he wanted to be a comedian and a talk show host, but have a conservative leaning show because what you see on TV and the late night shows, those are all liberal shows. But he wanted to give people an alternative that's a conservative version of that. And if he came out and he told people, look, I'm not a political leader. I'm not trying to be your political leader. I'm just a comedian and a talk show host. I'm trying to provide an alternative. We have a conservative leaning show, and I'm just trying to give you an alternative to Colbert or whatever those other ones are, those other garbage shows that I don't watch. And I think people would be much more accepting, and he's definitely not as bad of a guy, not as deep into it as Charlie Kirk, who's funded by people like the guy that runs Home Depot, I forget the guy's name, Bernard something or other, and he's funded by one of the Cook brothers, where he has these billionaire funders, and he's not representing the people that he claims to be representing, the people he's speaking to. He's representing these other guys, and that's why I call out so many of these guys on this channel. Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk, I'm not as familiar with him until these videos started going viral of him getting destroyed, but this is why I've been talking about too, about how to have real power, you have to organize. And that's what I'm seeing these guys do, and I'm just glad that they're doing it. This could be potential positive change for our world. And before I go, I do want to leave you with one other thought, and that is, the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of things in this world that are out of our control. We can't get around that. That's simply the reality of our world. There's so many things that we can't control in this world, but there is one thing that we can control, and that is our attitude. In life, attitude is everything. And a positive attitude won't make you do anything, but it will make you do everything better than with a negative attitude. So I just want to say I salute you guys. I love that you're having fun, because I think that's a key in anything you do. I've been a professional artist for many years now, and I've noticed whenever I've been in a bad mood and I've been trying to force something, it's not going to come out any good anyways. And that's how it is in your life on anything that you're working on, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a professional entrepreneurial thing. If it's labored and it feels like work and you feel tired doing it, you're doing the wrong thing and it's not going to pan out. If what you're doing energizes you and you're excited about it and you're having fun, even if you don't think that it might pan out, you're headed in the right direction. So until next time, my friends, you can watch more of my videos, but be sure to get outside and have a good cheer.